This is Abnormal Entertainment.
2, 3, 4.
Walked into the tunnel just to find the light. Hunted for old demons, looking for a fight. Looked up at the stars, seemed to go forever. There must be a way, it all fits together. Fell into the quicksand, held on to the vines. Never could quite color, stay within the lines. Feels like I have wings, I can fly wherever. This is just a way, it all fits together. Finally saw the world through rose-colored glasses. Gonna share my journey to small and large masses. Give up on my life, no sir, me never. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together.
Hey everybody, this is Daniel Garza and welcome to another episode of Put It Together. I'd like to start as usual thanking my producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, for all his help and support. Thank you, sir. Inviting everybody to check us out at abnormalentertainment.com where you can check all of the shows on the network. Go check that out. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Look for Daniel G. Garza or at Little Mexican, LILMESICAN. Check out everything we got about me, my guest, and the shows that are coming up. Today, I'm super excited. I'm always excited when I get another Latino on the show because you know there's going to be some Spanish coming up and food conversation somewhere along the way. But I have Mr. Jose Reyes Management.
Right.
But I want to tell people, because you're also a producer and you're also a comedian, and that's how I met you. That's how I found you. Mm-hmm. To let people know, we actually just met this morning because I stalked him a little bit. We're both graduates of Cool Beans Comedy.
Right.
When did you go through there?
Ooh, good question. I believe that was about a year ago, 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, I started going to Cool Beans shows first.
Okay.
So I like comedy, right? So I found out about comedy. Then I started looking out for shows, and then Cool Beans would come up in Eventbrite, I think it was. And then I started seeing all these comedians he was having, and there were comedians I was watching on YouTube. You know, some of my favorites like Dustin Ibarra was gonna be on there, Alonzo Bowden. So I started going to this. I'm like, free shows, and I'm over here like being skeptical, right? Like free shows, and I did go, and it was a free show. And then I kept continuing to go. And then one time I went to the film for Jeff Died, Corey Craig. Shout out Corey. Once I went there, I sent them an email saying how thankful I was, for what he was doing, and it was free, and I'm a college student, so it was always, nice. And then I said I always want to do comedy, also want to do comedy. And he invited me over to one of the classes, and we met after the class. I just kind of sat down in the class. Matt was incorporating me into the class, the activities that they did, I did them. And then after that, we spoke with Corey, and I said, hey, man, what you're doing, I like it. I want to be part of it. And so we started just like, I'll hit you up on Tuesday. He did hit me up on Tuesday, and we just started talking, and then we started working together. I started helping out with the shows a little bit. And then he's like, thanks for all your help. We'll give you an internship. I'm sorry, not an internship, a scholarship for Cool Beans U. So I actually got to do the class.
Nice.
So I did the class, and then the rest is history.
And for those of you that have been following me for a while, know that I just did it here in October of 2018. And you can check my video up on YouTube, so go check that out. But let's get started, because I'm really excited to hear your story.
Right.
So, Jose Reyes, tell us how you put it together.
Oh, man, I put it together many different ways. No, so I'm originally from Guatemala. That's where I was born and raised up until I was 10 years old. And I remember things were tough. Mom was raised by a single mother. I do know who my father is. He just was never in the house. But that's just like, everybody watching would probably guess that. That's a joke. So, I knew my dad and everything, but, my mom was a teacher. She was a principal, and so it happens in countries like Guatemala. I don't want to speak about the other ones. Teachers are not paid well, or at least treated well. So it was tough for my mom, and so I think she made the conscious decision that she wanted to give me a better life. And so she ended up coming over to the United States, and I stayed with my aunt for maybe about a month or so. And then I remember this very well. I'll never forget this. It was a Thursday, I believe. There was a Thursday, and I get a call. Well, my aunt gets a call, and then I talk to my mom, and she says that I'm leaving, to come with her. There was not like do you want to come over? Do you want none of that? It was just like, hey, you're going to come with me. And I was like, I'm not leaving. I was like, I'm not leaving. I was like, what is this? And I thought I had like a week or two, I was over here planning what I'm doing. And I was leaving Saturday of the same week.
Wow.
So I was Thursday, and then Saturday I was leaving. So, I packed all my stuff. I wasn't happy. Packed all my stuff. There was a lot of people I didn't get to say bye to. And when I mean bye to, I mean like see, hug or something. My grandfather actually met me in the airport. And then gave me a hug, and, it was very emotional. Just because, we didn't know when we were going to see each other type of thing. So then I left. Then I came on over, and I grew up always in the Valley. So I went to an LA school by the Coliseum. We would wake up with my mom at 5 in the morning to go, so she could work at the Coliseum, because she worked cleaning the Coliseum.
Oh, wow.
So we would go 5 in the morning, and then she'll drop me off at like around 6:30 maybe to the school, and then she'll go to work. So I will be in the school at 6:30, just like hanging in there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just sitting there. This is not lies. My mom can validate for me, and it's not something that she would like say proudly either. So. But
that's some dedication to her too. Like, she had to go to work.
Yeah.
I mean. What else do you do?
Exactly, and the way that they will help is because the Coliseum was like her work, and so when she got out of work, she'll pick me up. So that's what happened, and I was just, we did that for like a little bit. I want to say maybe 2 months. Then they took me out, and then I went to a school near to where we were staying with my uncle, because we were living with my uncle, and that was Sherman Oaks Elementary.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that one's pretty cool. We went they enrolled me in there. I was I want to say the third Latino in the class.
Yeah.
I don't know what level I was in the whole entire school, but there was, it was a populated with a lot of white kids and African American kids, and so there was not a male Latino. So I actually was thankful for that, because there was nobody I could speak Spanish to. There was only one kid named Rafael who would translate for me.
Oh, wow.
Because my teacher, Mr. Cook, he only spoke English. So, yeah.
Wow.
So Rafael would translate for me. He'd be like, oh, he means this. And the only thing that him and we spoke the same language was math. Because I like math. And so that was the only thing that I probably was good at more than the kids, and didn't have to speak English to understand what was going on there.
Yeah, numbers are pretty universal. But before you move on, let me ask you that. You come to a country and you don't know the language. Mm-hmm. How does it make you feel? I mean, isolated? Do you still? Are you still one of the kids?
So that's pretty funny to me, at least, when people ask about fitting in. I unfortunately never had an experience or not fitting in, and I'm gonna get to that, and it'll be very interesting what I'm gonna say, because everybody find it interesting. I find it too. So when I went to that school, I never felt isolated. The kids, and most of the kids were white. One of my best friends that I met there, his name is Jesse Lopez. but he's a second generation Mexican, but he does not speak any Spanish.
Right.
And I would just stare at him because his hair was so spiked up. And so I was staring in class to him, and he would look at me and then he would like smile and I would smile. And then, we were kids, you do that today in college, people would be like, this guy is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like,
are you hitting on me?
Yeah, exactly. You're hitting on me, man. But we would just smile, and then he would be very gothic. He would be very like, always wears black, always wore like the fat DC shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Shorts and long sleeve. He never wore a sweater. He wore a sweater when it was like super cold, and I would wear gloves, and he would just wear a sweater. Any other day, he would just have a normal t-shirt, and it would be freezing outside. So that was that, and then they would play handball. So remember, coming in, a lot of people don't understand too, is that the games we play in other countries were different than the games here. I play, I'm gonna say them in Spanish, un trompo.
Yeah.
I don't know how the translation is. I'll play that. I flew kites. But they were made from paper, not like plastic. Cincos, which is marbles, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. That's what we would play, and here there was none of that.
Right.
There was not, in my head I was coming in the airplane, I was like, I'm going to teach all these kids how to play this. I'm going to be the best at this. I get here, people didn't even know, you know what I'm saying? I thought they had it, but I was like, there's no way they're better than me, you know what I'm saying? I'll be throwing the trompo, putting it in my hand, you know what I'm saying? Just holding it, So then what they would do is, they would actually, I think the teacher told them at one point, I had to guess. I couldn't understand, but I had to guess. Mr. Cook probably told him, help him. So they would drag me with them, and it's like, we want to play handball, right? And then, kids have different rules. Like, they will check your ears, the inside of your ears, you know what I'm saying, to see if you were cool or something. But not just me. They did that to everybody. It's like, what are you doing, right?
Oh, you white people.
Yeah. He was like, what are you doing? So I would be with my friend Cameron, and he'd be like, oh, he wants, we were going to play. And it's like, oh, they say something about me because he pointed at me. And then all I know was that Cameron was like, he doesn't speak English. What? People were like, what? Yeah. Jose, say, man, may I go to the bathroom? And I was like, uh-huh. And they're like, see, I told you, you know what I'm saying? Because they started teaching me that. And all the kids, so Mr. Cook was like, Jose, I would raise my hand and I'll tell Rafael. Hey, Rafael, tell him I gotta go to the bathroom. And then Rafael would tell him, like, no. Jose, you say it. And then, they would tell me. So then every time I would bump into people from my class, they would come over and they'd be like, Jose, say you want to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, me, you know what I'm saying? And they're doing this and they will correct me. So
that's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. And so they incorporated me into the whole culture. I never felt left out. I love all those people, you know what I'm saying? I actually went to school with some of the people that are famous today, like Victoria Justice. I was in the class with Victoria Justice's sister, which is Madison.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was with her. There's this other guy comes out in Grown Ups, Cameron. He has a lot of freckles. I was in school with him. He was just a great lower. So it was pretty cool. I met at the time we didn't know who these kids were, but now they grew up into it. So that was pretty cool. Then after that, I just did the 4th grade there because they put me back. I should have been in 5th grade, but since I didn't know the language, they thought it was a good idea to put me in 4th grade to learn the language. And then, so that's why, in school now, I was older than the kids I was in school with. It was rare the case when I was with somebody that, was sort of my same age, but they turned that age that I was later. I turned it first. Well, my birthday's in July, so every time I started a new school year, I started with a new age.
Got it.
So then we moved again, because we moved about 8 different places with my mom.
Wow.
Yeah. So we moved to the Valley, Reseda, and I attended Garden Grove Elementary.
Okay.
And that was when I probably first experienced the first time, I don't want to say racism or discrimination, but that was the first time I was probably made fun of by Latino kids.
Yeah.
And that's something people never like, what? It's like, yeah, Latino kids are cool, man. They would like call me, I would like speaking out an accent. So then they had this little term, paisa, un paisita, right? For me, that's somebody who's in the same country as you. If I meet another Guatemalan, Guatemala is mi paisano.
Yeah.
Here, paisita means either, I think it meant you're not from here, or you're an immigrant or something, and you definitely have an accent. Nobody will call paisa somebody, you still have a lot of your Latino roots.
Yeah.
I think I still have a lot of my Latino roots. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't stepping away from the culture. People would dress a certain way. I would dress a complete different way. I'll probably tuck in my shirt. They didn't tuck in their shirt.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a big thing. Yes.
Yeah, people watching this will know it's like, oh, yes, I tucked in my shirt, that type of thing. I'll comb my hair this way. If I wanted to spike it up, my mom's like, nah, you're going to school. So she'll like, comb me very well and everything. Always, my mom always had me dressed well and showered and everything. So then they started, I started then that's when they started. I was feeling very isolated. And so nothing, as a kid, you don't go like, oh, I'm being discriminated, I'm being made fun of. You just kind of see like, oh, these kids are rude, they don't like me type of thing.
Yeah, they're just bullies.
Yeah. I didn't, see, I was, every time I would make fun of people, like, not make fun of people getting bullied, but when I always thought heard of like some bullying, like cyberbullying, I'm like, this is ridiculous, man. Like, what are you talking about? Then I started thinking about then started learning about what bullying is. So I was like, oh, damn, I was bullied. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't think about it when you're a kid. You just think they're mean.
Yeah, they're like mean kids, man. Like, what are you?
And then you get educated. You're like, oh, they were bullies.
Yeah, they were bullies, man. Like,
I'm a victim.
So that was the 5th grade. So I started the 5th grade, and I was always being a controversial kid in the sense that I don't want to say I spoke my mind. I do speak my mind, but I do it in a respectful way. So I got in a lot of trouble for doing things like that, If I didn't like something, I would tell people I don't like it, and then they wanted me to do certain things. So an example would be like if the teacher comes and says, you're going to do fractions this way. I was like, nah, I didn't learn it that way. I'm going to do it this way type of thing. That was just me. But.
So at what age do you really start understanding English? At what age are you acclimated?
So that's a thing I miss, because I never forgot this unless people ask me, and what you did. When I was in the LA school, the first school I went to, I was talking about I was getting there at 6:30 in the morning. There was a teacher that grabbed me. I was speaking Spanish with another student that had just come from, I think, Mexico, Nicaragua or something. And so obviously we were talking. She pulled me to the side. Actually, she put me in front of the classroom, but everybody was working. And she looked at me dead in the eyes. I'll never forget this lady. And she said, you know how long it takes to speak English? 5 years. You being here for 2 months. Stop speaking Spanish. Just like in my face. It wasn't like a nice thing. It was like in my face. And I was so scared. You know what I'm saying? I was so scared. And I was like, okay, whatever, I didn't care. Because I want to say I thank my mom for always speaking to me tough and cussing at me. I mean, you've got moms that cuss at you, you know what I'm saying, because she loves you. You know what I'm saying? She always treat me like, you piece of, you know what I'm saying, when I would do bad things. So I think things like that didn't bother me. It just came rare, because in my head it's like, you're not my mom. Why are you talking to me like this? But it wasn't like, why are you speaking to me in this weird tone? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. So yeah, going back to that, I think I never stopped learning English. I think even today I sometimes sound with an accent and pronounce certain words. So I'm still learning, but I think I always say this: you learn the language, then you learn how to properly speak it, and then you learn sophisticated. Right. You start learning with bigger words, different expressions. Like to this day, the thing I battle with is idioms. Because some of them I don't understand. People say, oh, I would have known him from a hole in the wall. What? Why would you know somebody from a hole in the wall? Why would a hole be?
What were you doing behind the hole?
Yeah, so it's like, okay, the apple of my eye. I mean, that was pretty obvious, but it's like, but I heard it's like the apple of my eye. I was like, okay, is there a part in the eye that is called an apple? You know what I'm saying? This is real things. You know what I'm saying? I was over here, and then idioms keep getting hit on, and I'm over here like, yo, what does this mean? You know what I'm saying? So I never stopped learning the language up until right now. But I would say the first time where I would say I was translating for my mom will probably be 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was 5th grade when I was in the Latino school, and then 6th grade was when I got, middle school. And I actually went to I just want to run down to like the beginning because I think it has to make sense. I went to Northwich Middle School right here in the Valley. Okay. And that school, I didn't know it was a bad school until I went to other better schools. You know what I'm saying? Dude, we had people come in with dogs, like sniffing for weed.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I thought you meant like the students.
No, like police. Police dogs. Yeah, like police dog would come in and then smell, man. And we had like a big drug problem. And I remember when I first got there, we just had gotten back our locker privilege because in prior year, I think somebody brought a gun.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, this is crazy. And that's when I was exposed to really cholos. You know what I'm saying? Like high socks, low. I was not exposed to this. Obviously, in Sherman Oaks, was not exposed to that.
No, definitely not.
5th grade, I'd say it was so kind of soon, you know. But then 6th grade, you know what I mean? By exposed to them, it was like the bigger kids, you know, 8th grade, 7th grade, and then there were like, bald head, and there were some like very scary looking dudes. You know what I'm saying? And so, there was I saw some dude one time brought beer, and they were drinking it in the bathroom, and I saw it, and then. The bathroom smelled like weed. That's when I first had a sniff of weed or what it was like. But I just always went to school. And then this is the thing I always tell people. I said, my mom always is very grateful with me. She said, you're a great kid. The reason why is because my mom, after that, she had gotten this job at a factory, embroidery factory.
Okay.
And what happened was she would wake up. So there was a time where I would come home, do my thing, go to sleep. My mom would come home, either cook me a meal, right? Cook me for my next day meal. Do it either do it at night when she come home or the next morning. Then I would wake up and she'll be sleeping, and I'll take a shower, go down to the bus station that was right in front of my apartment building, and I'll go to school. And then my mom would go to work, and then I'll come back. My mom wasn't home, so I'll do whatever I needed to do, to do my homework, whatever, eat. Then I'll go to sleep, and then my mom will come over, and she'll see me sleep. And then do whatever she needed to do, and then she'll go to sleep. And I'll wake up, and then she'll be sleeping. And that was the routine.
Wow.
That was the routine. So my mom always said, you raised yourself. And then I was like, nah, mom, But what happened was, yes, I could have not gone to school. And all she's going to get was a call that said, your son or daughter was absent, or missed 1 or 2 classes, or was late to 1 or 2 classes. And I could have said, oh, mom, I was late to 1 class, you know what I'm saying? And then because they said absent or late to 1 or more classes. And I could have been like, oh, mom, you know what I'm saying? They said they were going to fix that, and there was nothing she can do, she could go to the school, but then she would miss a day of work.
So what motivated you to want to, because we have a very similar, at that point. Because when I was in 4th grade, I was like, I don't need a babysitter anymore. Like, I can take care of myself.
Right.
So my parents would just call me in the morning. It's like, are you ready? Like, yeah, I'm leaving now. And that was it. I wake up, take a shower, get changed, have breakfast, go to school, come home, do my homework. Como si nada, that's just it. I was just a smart ass little kid. I wanted to be a brown noser, and I kissed ass as much as I could. That's why I did it. What was your motivation to want to be a good kid? I mean, you could have.
Yeah, I could have done a lot. I could have gone many routes. I think it was like, this is what I always say. Somebody once asked me a question that was very hard to answer. It's like, what country do you love the most, or something like that? People will be like, oh, your main country, I answer it differently, man. Here's the thing. I'm thankful for Guatemala for giving me my education in the sense of like morals. Right. My education of like, over there in school, a person of power will walk in, you stand up and say, good morning, Mr. or Mrs., whatever. You enter a room. If you came to a house, you say hi, not the people in the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those type of education things, you know what I'm saying? There was somebody, don something, don Miss Senora something,
right.
There was never like, and they tell you, call me by my first name, you're like, no, I can't.
You can't do it.
No,
I still can't do it.
Don Roberto, Doña, whatever. So I always say I'm thankful for Guatemala for giving me that. Also, Guatemala showed me what life would be if I go to those routes of crime. Because over there, people who had tattoos were gang members. We didn't see tattoos as a way of expression and art, like how people do it today. But so I got to see that, and Guatemala gave me that. But I love the United States for giving my education, my scholarly education. So I can never take this credit for that, you know what I'm saying? And then the question follow up, but like, if Guatemala and the United States is playing, who would you go for? And I'm like, look, man, Guatemala does not win anything in soccer. So I'm going to root for them winning, you know what I'm saying? But you probably see me with a United States shirt. No, it's not even about that, but
I get it. Yeah, it happens to Mexicans a lot too.
I don't bite the hand that feeds me, man. And if I have to put in a rank, and I'm not afraid to say it, I'll put the United States first. How dare me? You know what I'm saying? How dare me for me to put Guatemala above that when the United States is the place that gives me safety, gives me education.
I totally get that. I was born in Mexico.
Yeah.
And we moved here when I was 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been here since I was 3. So it's like I'm American. I consider myself first generation because I didn't really live there. Right. I went back to do school for a while because I was bullied as a kid.
Oh, okay.
So I went back but only to get away from the bullies till they graduated.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, okay, leave. Now I'm back.
Right.
But yeah, I'm like, I love my roots. I like a good mariachi. I love a good taco. And when I used to drink, I liked a good tequila. But I'm Americanized. Like, I dig it here. Like, I wouldn't want to leave.
I always say to people that they go and visit, either Mexico or something like that, and they're like, "Oh, I love Mexico more. It's cool." And I always say to them, "Okay, live there with somebody's salary, with somebody's their salary. You're not gonna love it as much." You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thankful to say I lived in another country where we thought we were rich. See, when I come in Guatemala, we thought we were middle class. And then we got here, and then we realized that we weren't crap, and it's true. And so I'm like, I always say to people, visiting is great. Why? Because even psychologically, you're coming back.
Right.
Even if you didn't even if you've experienced something horrible, you still in your mind can wrap your head around saying, I'm gonna come back. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it is.
All right, so as now we've talked a little bit. By the way, thank you, George.
Yeah,
George. Thank you, George, for the coffee. Really good coffee. So you grow up. For a lot of immigrants, college doesn't always.
Oh yeah.
It's not part of our story, because my parents were like, well, as soon as you finish high school, where are you going to work? I'm like, I want to go to school. And they were like, ¿para qué? Like,
yeah.
Like we didn't do it. Look at us. And I was like, that's why.
Yeah.
What was you're graduating from high school, and what do you want to do? What do you want to be?
So luckily enough, I have a grandfather that's an engineer back in Guatemala, and he always, every time he talked to me on the phone, he would be like, you're going to be a professional. You know what I'm saying? That's always, his definition of professional was a college educated person. My mom has a master's in teaching, so luckily enough, I will say I come from a, education background. My aunt is like a Supreme Court justice from Guatemala. So,
wow.
So I have a side of the non-educated, and then I have the educated one. True story, man. I mean, it's what you say is very, very true. I never thought I could go to. I attend CSUN. I'm in my last, so I'm in a semester. I have one more semester. So next semester, that starts in January, and then I'll be good to go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man. Finally, it's almost done. But when I was in high school, I would never go to the financial aid like workshops.
Right.
I would never go and see the college advisor, if you will. Never that, because I never thought my mom would be able to pay for it. I hear financial aid, but I was over here like, I'm not going to get none of this.
Right.
Like, even if they give you money, it doesn't make no sense. So then I said, I'm gonna go to Pierce College. And that was in 10th grade or something. That's when I met George, the person I lived with. He taught at Harvard Westlake High School.
Okay.
So he offered his services to the school to become a tutor. So I hate geometry with a passion. He taught me, a little bit of geometry. So then he's like, what are you going to do about college? So I'm going to go to, Pierce. And he's like, why? And I was like, because it's cheaper, you know what I'm saying? Get started there. And he's like, well, let's do the math. You know what I'm saying? He started doing the math, because everything with him is math. The numbers don't lie. And I agree with that. So I started doing we assumed that it would take me about 3 years to, get rid of Pierce, assuming that, I don't do the whole 2-year ride in summer and stuff. So he put 3 years and then another 3 in season. Came out almost to the same thing. So he's the one who convinced me to go to season, which was probably the best thing ever. And so, yeah, so I wanted to go to school. I declared my major in high school. I declared business management and economics. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to be that. And so I declared it, and then I went, and after 2 years of being in college, I was like, what the hell is my major, man? Like, everybody that was doing biology are learning out here how to, dissect a frog, and I'm over here, like, learning about, like nonsense, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what is this? When am I ever gonna know how to be a CEO? What do CEOs wear? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my thinking, you know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, do we say Prada or like Tom Ford? I mean, what is it, man? You know?
What do they order for lunch?
Yeah. No, and so then I had a management professor, Wayne Smith, and he opened my eyes to management. But I never once thought that I would not go to school. Hope that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
By the means, like, whether it was peers, whether it was where I learned a skill, I always saw myself going into school. I can never see myself a regular job. Never ever felt that way. I don't know why. I think it was, I like to say that seeing my mom struggle and stuff like that pushed me to be there, and not really. Not that I never, maybe it did, but maybe I didn't realize it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally.
I never woke up like, okay, my mom's working, I gotta go get this, A. Never like that. Now it makes more sense. Now I always tell my mom every time, that's another thing about being Latino, I think, and struggling here. Holidays are not the same.
Right.
It's always a sad moment for when Thanksgiving comes, that just passed yesterday. Thanksgiving comes, Christmas, New Year's. It's always a sad thing because we want to be happy, but we realize where we are. And it's not about something, it's about status. I'm not saying that we have to have a big house, cars, and everything to feel happy, but it's like, there's a sense of emptiness where you kind of say, I want to feel happy genuinely, but we're just talking about being happy, but we're not really happy. So I always tell my mom every time, something like Thanksgiving, I said, Mom, there's going to be better days. You best believe there's going to be better days. There's no way this is it, I'm going to try my best to get you somewhere, you know what I'm saying? My mom is, I believe, 45 right now. And I say believe just because I don't know the age. And I always said I have put myself a goal that by 50, I want to give my mom an option to whether she wants to live here or live in Guatemala. Either way, I will be able to support her. Don't ask me how I'm going to do that. Don't ask me if I will be able to. I don't know, but I know somewhere in me, you know what I'm saying? This is when I think positive means, somewhere in me says I'm going to give her that pleasure to basically say those two, pick and choose.
I get the feeling you're going to pull it off.
Thank you, man. I really do.
Well, right now I feel really old because I'm actually older than your mom if she's 45. So I just felt really old there for a minute. Just thinking the fact that I'm old enough to be your dad or very good looking older uncle. But for those of you listening and or watching, like I said in the beginning, I really did. I found him because he was Latino and he was we both been to Cool Beans Comedy. And I was like, I want to interview this dude and find out. And one of the best things about this show, I've been doing this for 6 years. And one of the best things is that the stories never go the way I expect them. Because I was thinking we're going to be talking about comedy, we're going to be laughing, but your story is very inspirational. I'm really, especially what you said right now, and I hope I don't get emotional, because my family's in Texas and my family's in Mexico, and yesterday, for those of you again listening, this is the day after Thanksgiving that we're recording this, and I was very happy with my boyfriend yesterday. We ordered food, we had turkey, we had everything. We sat around in our pajamas. But there was a little part of me in the back that was like, oh, I missed my people. Like, I wish I had my people around me. So I get it.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I always tell people when they, because when we have conversations like this, and you ask me to do type of things like this, it helps me also realize some of the things that otherwise I don't think about every day. You know, when people ask me like, "Would you want to go back to Guatemala?" and then, well, to be like, one of the things you wish or something like that. I always said, man, look, I wish I can give a hug to certain people. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? When you leave a country, come here, it humbles you to the level that you cannot even understand that a hug means so much, you know, means so much. Seeing someone means so much. And when I was in Guatemala, I had a friend. His name was Juan Carlos. We call him Chicharrón because he was a little chubby. And he was a good friend of mine. We always talk about, like, we're going to see each other again. Don't worry, man. You're going to come over. You know what I'm saying? We always had these aspirations and stuff. And then one day, I go on Facebook and I was scrolling down, and you know people on Facebook. And I started seeing his face with a black ribbon. You know? And I was just like, you know, it was so unreal. It was so unreal in the sense that I was like, okay, and I kept seeing it, and then I hit out my older friend Hugo. I said, Hugo, what happened? It's like, oh yeah, man, he was murdered. And that's when reality kicked in for me. I want to say this happened maybe about 4 years ago. That's when reality kicked in for me, where I forgot that there were still people back there in my home that were exposed to this. You know, I have completely forgot about safety. I completely forgot about all these things. And then when I heard those things, I mean, I cried, man. I texted my dad and I said, hey, man, they killed Chicharrón. My dad called me and was like, hey, man, look, I'm so sorry, man. I've lost friends too. You know what I'm saying? I know this was your buddy. And it was so surreal, man. And I cried. And then even to this day, if I start talking about him a lot, I start crying because he was somebody that I always wanted to be like, and I'm not just saying that because he dead, but his level of not giving a crap was very high, you know, and I always cared, not like what people say, but I always think twice about doing something. He just didn't care, you know what I'm saying? He was just like, if I want to go do this, I'm gonna go and do this. So he was murdered. I think he was involved with drug cartels. He was shot up, I believe, 7 times. Somewhere in his face and his chest. And that broke my heart because, you know, I always said to people, when this conversation came up, I always said, look, man, he had a choice not to. I'm never going to say that he was a victim. He never had a choice. He had a choice not to be in that. But I understand why he did it. And that's one thing that people living here will never be able to understand. There's levels when you say, man, you see your moms, you know what I'm saying? You see your mom out here struggling or something. Whatever he saw, and he thought probably that was the answer. Now he dead and stuff. And so, you know, when I think about things like that and stuff, it really humbles me to the point where it says how lucky I am. How lucky I am that I'm here and he's not. And I carry with that everywhere I go, you know. And, you know, like I always said, gang is not a joke, man. People act on it like, oh, gang is so cool. But I've seen real gangs, you know what I'm saying? I see real guns being pointed at people and stuff. I've seen dead bodies, you know. At the age of 10, you know what I'm saying? Because that's when I lived, you know. At the age of 10, I've seen all that stuff. And it's not a joke, man. That's why when people talk about guns and having guns in this country and everything, my stand on it is like, sure, your Second Amendment, cool. But let's just talk away from an amendment, man. Let's talk about, like, what guns. To me, guns is not a joke. In the sense of, like, where I'm from, a gun, if you have a gun on your waist, it's not because you like hunting, because you like the gun. It's because you got people that are going to try to kill you and you try to kill them first. Right. That's the only reason why you have a gun. Over there, people don't have it. We didn't have guns in our house. Why would we have guns in our house? You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy like that. And so when people go there and you see that side of guns, I best believe people would not like guns. You know? Yeah. But that's a different topic.
We'll have to come back and get deeper.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I can get deeper, you know?
But that kind of to change it over. But yeah, it's... I tell folks... There's a reason why my parents wanted to leave Mexico. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a reason why they chose to bring us here. I'm like, yes, the culture is beautiful and the history is wonderful and the food is delicious, but it's what you see on a daily basis that wants to make you want to get away. Yeah. And folks don't understand that. And like you said earlier, I'm like, yeah, if I had, bunch of money and I'm down there and I'm white, people are going to treat you like you're royalty because they know you got the bucks for it.
Yeah.
When they see me, they'll be like, get to work, mister. Yeah.
In countries like that, money runs everything. I mean, my grandfather's pretty wealthy. I would say he's very, very wealthy. And when he goes to, visiting places, we go to some of the best places. And he gets treated because money runs over there. You know what I'm saying? People will sell their souls for money. People will kill for money. Have somebody go and tell a gangster here, hey, I need you to kill this dude, I'll give you $1,000. They will think twice. I may be wrong, but I think they think twice. Over there, people will kill you for nothing. You know what I'm saying? You go to a little kid, you give him a gun, he's like, go kill this dude, he's going to be sitting eating tacos right there. No questions asked, because there's no consequences. But, that's why I guess I was criticized when I think the first one was the Orlando shooting or the Vegas shooting. It was one of those two. And people were like, oh, it's so sad. And I think I did a mistake because, in class I did the biggest mistake. And I said, oh, I'm not hurt by that. And they're like, you're not hurt by that? And then I'm like, well, let me clarify. Look, I've seen deaths all my life. You know what I'm saying? All my life I've seen deaths. Since, in the newspaper in Guatemala, there's always like a bus got hijacked and killed so many people, killed the driver. I said, the United States is going down that road when you're going to start having a lot of murders where people are no longer going to be affected by it. And that's when the problem is. Because over there in Guatemala, people get killed all the time. All that happens is like, they killed on something, the owner of the whatever. And then, so sad. Move on with your life.
Yeah.
And people here, I noticed the Vegas shooting, people were grieving, man. They were toxin. And I could see the pain, but I could never feel the pain anymore. I was already immune to the things like that. Not that it's cool, but it's like, I always say to people, I say, look, if something is not changed, more of these are going to be happening, and it's going to be part of the norm. Because killing and murdering people, it's part of the norm. I can speak that on Mexico, and I can speak on that on Guatemala. Yeah. It's part of the norm, and people are not caring. And the moment you stop caring is the moment when you have lost everything. At that point, you're just going to have... Then it becomes the whole, I can be out on the street at 10. I have walked this street, my street here, when I can't sleep or something, I walk up and down, and it will be 11, 12, 1 in the morning. I cannot do that in Guatemala.
Yeah, you can't do that in Mexico, yeah.
So, that's the sad part about that. But,
all right, let's lighten this up now, because we got a little...
Yeah, a little, just wanted to disclose
I saw death for the first time when I was like 4 years old. Mm-hmm. My little buddy from across the street got run over. And I wanted to go see him. I wanted to say goodbye. And my sister was like, no, like, you're too small. And I was like, I want to go see him. Mm-hmm. So they took me across the street to go the viewing. And so I was 4 years old and I saw my little buddy in the casket. And I was like, okay, so that's what death looks like.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of with you. I'm like, I'm not touched that much. Like, okay, well, they're not suffering anymore. Good for them. Like, anyway, all right. So let's move this on. So college. You're in college. You're about to graduate. What do you see in your future?
Well, I see my future means a lot of success. I do not see myself being an average person in the sense that I go into a job and then just do that. I feel like I'm going to have a big influence. I feel, if I could say it, I could be like, I see myself as a CEO, president or something. Why do I say that? It just has always happened, man. Somehow, every time I've joined something, whether it was wrestling or something, I've always kind of left my mark, I've always left my mark somewhere. And I just, as much as I want to be average Joe, I know that idiom, average Joe, I can never be average Joe. There's always I have to do something that separates me from the rest. And it's not that I start and sit down and say, well, how can I be different? It's just my personality. So graduating and stuff, I want to talk about Cubans because that's going to shape on that. So I went to a little depression. I didn't know I had depression and stuff. I had a little depression in the school counseling at CSUN. They give you sessions. So I walked in there. I was like, look, I just want to talk to somebody and everything. Well, what's going on? And then so they sit you down. It's sort of like an interview. It's like, what's happening? And they interview me and everything, and they notice. And they were like, suicidal thoughts. I was like, none. You know what I'm saying? All this. Then I will sit down with my therapist that has 7 sessions. Interesting enough, she said, first of all, let me say, I'm really surprised. And I said, why? Because you're a male Latino who came in by themselves to therapy. That's unheard of. I was like, you lie. You know, I was like, you're just saying this to make me feel good. It's like, no, the egos get in the way. I said, oh, well, I'm here because I don't talk to my friends like, hey, look, this is happening, because they're not professionals. You're a professional, so that's why I'm here. So we get talking, and then sort of towards the end, she tells me that I had severe depression. And the most you can get is 6 sessions. And I was given 7. I had severe depression. I was something that's not something she tells you in the beginning of the sessions because you can freak out or something. But yeah, she's like, you had severe depression. To cut that through, what basically happened was people who have the same sex parent missing or lying their lives tend to go through a little depression between the ages of 19 to 25. So this happened to me when I was, I think, 21. I'm 23 right now. So I deal with that. So now I'm in a better place and everything. So, but there was a time in the meeting where she said, "What makes you happy?" Because she said, "You have only smiled twice in this entire sessions," and that's when you spoke about a Honda Civic that I had and I crashed. And so when you talked about that car, and then when you talked about comedy, that was the only time, because you even told me a joke by Cat Williams. Cat Williams is my favorite comedian. He's the one who got me into stand-up comedy, in the sense that I started watching it, And I said, those when you just even told me a joke by him, and then, so what is it about that? It's like, I don't know, when I'm sad, I don't say I'm sad, I'm going to watch stand-up, but like, if I want to laugh, I usually get YouTube and then start watching clips. So is that something you would want to do? I said, maybe, I'm saying, I don't know. I kind of like it. And I was like, okay, well, I think you should do it. And then I said, so you know what? I'm going to do it. Even if it's just one time, I'm going to be on stage for one time, and I'm going to be there for myself. I was like, over here. And she's like, do it. And I was like, I will. 8 months go by, what I'm saying? Like, nothing happens. And then it takes me back to what I said earlier, where I just send a email to Corey, and, I joined the class. So I have a very deep love for comedy. I always said comedy saved my life, in the sense that when I was going through that depression, I didn't feel like I had a purpose. People that gone through the depression, they will probably know what I'm talking about. You wake up and not feeling any sort of need of anything, you just kind of do routine. I was going to class, I wasn't liking it. And then, I tell Corey all the time, whether he knows or not, but I always said, hey man, thank you for that opportunity. I will always be thankful with Corey, because he gave me a purpose. Not him necessarily gave me a purpose, but by him allowing me to be part of Cool Beans gave me a purpose. I was going to those shows so excited. You know what I'm saying? I was super happy. I was looking forward to it. I was putting what I was going to wear, the night before. Like, okay, I'm going to wear this. And then I sometimes be like, I don't know I'm just going all out, all out. And I was sharing ideas, and, I was really thankful for that. And then I started meeting some great comedians, and made great friends. Torrance is one, Matt, Corey, Drew Lynch, Francisco Ramos. Francisco Ramos sent me a happy birthday on my birthday this year. And that meant so much to me, so many family members sent it, but for him to take his time and said, hey man, happy birthday, meant so much, And I'll share a funny story with comedy. So one time, we're in the green room. Have you been to the green room in the Ice House?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Oh my God, how could you? Okay. Next time you go, if I'm there, I'll get you in just so you can check it out. So I'm hanging out there, right? And then we're getting out because it's another show. And then I'm saying, just doing here, saying. All of a sudden, somebody walks in, and it's Carlos Mencia. Oh my Dios, Carlos Mencia. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in my backpack here, and I was like, oh, what's up, man? And he's like, he goes in, he's like, what's up, guys? And I was like, oh, what's up? And I was like, cool, chilling and everything. And then I go up to him, and I'm like, hey, Carlos Mencia. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm in the same room with you. And he's like, oh, man, stop with all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like that. And I was like, kind of like, that awkward moment, you were like, I should have not said that. And everything. And I'm over here like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, you don't mind if we take a picture? I'm a big fan. He's like, oh yeah, let's take a picture, man. We take a picture, I have the picture and everything. And then I was still hurt. I was hurt, dude. You know what I'm saying? I was like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, somebody then talked to me and clarified something for me. He said, you don't understand something. And I was like, what is it? If you're in the green room, especially in the ice house, anybody that walks in there already automatically knows you deserve to be there. Because people are not allowed to just go in the green room. So he's like, he knew that you were part of this world, part of this entertainment. So by you basically saying, I can't believe I'm in the same room with you, he took it as you're ass kissing. And people in the industry do not like ass kissing. They do not like for you to praise everything. Like, yes, man, basically. And remember, they're humans too. And I was like, interesting. And at that moment, I really realized where I was in comedy after a year. I never knew where I was in the sense, like, I didn't think I was in that level, where I was in the same room as Carlos Mencia. And that was like I said, I remember that because I think that humbled me too, because after that I met other people and I knew how to act.
Right.
I lost my shit when I met Cristela Alonso, but I was just like, hi Cristela, how you doing? But in the inside I was dying, you know what I'm saying? The only person where I think I'll become a diva, scream my lungs out, is if I ever meet Kat. You know what I'm saying? And if Kat were to hit me with something like that, man, it would break my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because I love Cat Williams, man. To me, I think he's one of the best in the game.
Well, if this episode makes it all the way to Cat Williams, Mr. Cat Williams, please come in and have a Jose open for you.
Dude, I mean, I would lose my thing, man. I think he's.
And you send him a hello. Friend on Facebook.
Dude. I mean, always people like to discourage me, like, "Oh, will he be doing? He's crazy." I'm like, let's stay with comedy, man. This guy is the best in comedy. I don't care what he does in his life. You know what I'm saying? He does things, but.
All right, so we're getting down to the final minutes of the show, and this is a part where I ask my guests to send some words of wisdom to the people listening. Jose Reyes, what words of wisdom do you have?
So sad it's over. Man, words of wisdom. I mean, man, you got me on that one. George told me one time something I live with. He said, you don't do the right things because you want to. I think it's something like that. Yeah, he said, you don't do the right thing because you want to. He said, you don't do things because you want to. You do things because it's the right thing to do. So what I would say is, we got to separate ourselves from all these things that we think holds us down, being Latino, accents and everything. And we might if you pretend, I'm a big believer that if, I like that whole thing where it's like, fake it until you make it.
Yes.
I like that to a certain extent, to the point where it's like, I don't ever see myself as Latino. I've actually been called, you seem whitewash. You look very Americanized and all these things. Because I just don't have an accent when I speak. I don't, speak with a Mexican accent. Even when Spanish, if I want to speak slang, I purposely tell myself speak slang because the way I speak Spanish is not in a slang way. I speak proper Spanish.
Correct.
Thanks to my mom. But I always said, but I separate myself from being Latino and everything. I knock on any door and I say, hey, how you doing? My name is this. I'm looking for an internship. I'm looking for this. May I speak to this? How do I get this? So what I would tell people is separate yourself from all this, you know what I'm saying? Whether you're gay, male, transgender, since that's what we're hearing a lot now. Separate yourself from all that. You are a person, and what's going to speak to you is what you do. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, your talent is what's going to speak for you. If you're a comedian, so what if you're a transgender comedian? So what if you're this? Are you funny? When I look at comedians and I help Corey put together some comedians, I don't care what this person looks like is. Is he funny? Is he going to deliver great content? Is he going to deliver a great show? Yes, put him on the show. We don't even care. The times when we have rejected comedians is when the comedian will speak very rude about someone. Somebody's talking about, let's say, gays and is having a joke and is very tough about it. We don't put him in. Because that's his content.
Yeah.
That's his content. So what I would say is, separate yourself from 1 minute about whatever you think will hold you down. Don't make them a thing, and then pretend like you're whatever you want to be. You know what I'm saying? I walk around thinking I'm over here a CEO. I ain't shit. Yet. But I act like it. I act like it. I dress like it. I talk to people like this. And at the end of the day, it's who you are, man.
Yeah. I dig that because when people ask me about my show, I'm like, well, I've been on for 6 years. I have over 200 episodes. And they're like, oh, great. What's your setup like? I'm like, my phone and microphones. That's all I need. Because the show is quality itself. I don't need to come in with a big setup and production.
Yeah, it's just content, man. I mean, it's just content. I mean, like I said, thank you. By the way, I want to just thank you while we're here on reaching out and doing this. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this.
Really?
Yeah, I never done this at all.
I get a lot of virgins on the show.
Yeah, I'm a little different virgin on this. I just want to do it just because, when I get invited, because I'm part of the board of advisors for a high school.
Nice.
And we bring speakers, and I brought Corey over and all this. They always have this conversation where, like, how are we going to get kids? We got to educate kids on going to college. And I said to them, let's stop you right there. It's not about convincing people going to college. It's like, how are you going to come and tell a kid you can go to college, and then he's going to a house of a single mother, uncles, cousins, and all this, struggling, working 2 jobs perhaps, and you're going to tell this kid he can go to college? He's not going to believe you. You know what I'm saying? So when I go over and then people ask me questions like, how did you start in comedy? I tell them, look, I started comedy like this, and that. And like, what I started realizing is that they catch one thing, and they keep it. Maybe they're like, one time I remember I was telling a kid about how I was waking up, and my mom was sleeping, and I was going, and it's like, I had that same thing, man. And sometimes, one time I went back home and I just went to sleep. I said, why? I didn't want to go to school. And I said, was your mom home? She's like, no, she left. Do you think she wanted to go to work? No, man, she hates that job. So why did she go and you didn't? You know what I'm saying? How dare you, man? You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, I just didn't want to go. And I said, well, let's have your mom not go. What's going to happen? And then he's just like, oh, well, you're going to get paid for that and everything. Okay, cool. But if you don't go to school, what happens? Well, nothing. I mean, we still eat. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, you think that's the biggest effect? No, man. And then, so there's always one thing. And so that's why I decided to sort of share some of my story and stuff. Like I said, I don't think I have a big story. I think I have very normal stories, I think, for any immigrant. I may be wrong. I'm not just trying to be modest.
I'll put it this way. It's not uncommon to hear a story like that. It's just not common enough that we hear them. We need to hear them. We need to know. We need to let people know that there's a struggle. Like I said, I remember clearly. We lived in Dallas, and my parents would wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning, wake me up. My mom would be making like the tacos for their lunch. She'd probably give me one. There was a radio station in Dallas, and the morning show was Chile, Tomate, Cebolla. And they would drive me over to the babysitter, or sometimes my babysitter lived next door or wherever, and drop me off. I go back to sleep. They wake me up. I wake up in somebody else's house and have breakfast and go to school. Come home and wait for them to get off work. And then that was it. You do your homework and you just keep going. And but I saw my parents, year after year struggle with that job, and I always thought I don't want to do that. I went into corporate. I studied management when I went to school. I went to trade school. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to college till my 30s. And then I was in corporate, and I was like, I don't want to work for somebody. I want to do my own thing. So after my cancer, I was like, screw this. I may not be making a lot of money, but I'm doing what I want to do. I want people to recognize my interviews and be like, I want to be on his show. And now I get emails from people like, hey, I heard your show. Can I be a guest? And from England and from Australia. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, wow. People are listening to me all the way over there. So that was my dream when I started. Like, I want to go international. I want the Daniel Garza show on TV. At one point, I wanted to be the Mexican gay Oprah. So maybe that'll still happen. But then I thought, no, I just want to be Daniel Garza. Like, I want to have my show, be me. Right. So, thank you for sharing your story, first of all. And thank you for being part of other kids' lives, and influencing the way they're going to be grown-ups. Because that's what we need. We forget. We're struggling so much that we forget to give back. Mm-hmm. And you're doing that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know that. Like I said, I think I don't let the labels and the thing get to me. I would just say that. Try to keep it as honest as possible. And yeah, man, I mean, hope somebody listens to it and somebody may have something to say. I'm open for a debate. I'm scared.
I'm pretty sure people will.
Yeah.
I also want to give you opportunity. If somebody out there in Guatemala that knows you, is there anything you want to say out to them? Algo que les quieras, un mensaje para la gente.
My sister might want to listen to this. You know what I'm saying? No, my sister. That's the only person I love, man. That's my sister. My half sister, I would say. I have I have a joke. I'll share it with you real quick. I have a joke where I said, my dad, I said, my dad never wanted me to share things. My dad never wanted me to share things. He always wanted me to have my own things. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's why he gave me and my two other sisters our own individual mothers. You know? So it's like, I said that. You're laughing, but there's people that go like, oh. You know what I'm saying? But then he realized we're going to have to share dad, so he left. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a dark human rejection, but it's true, you know. I do. We have two sisters, and we all got our own mother. And every time he says that, he's like, "How come they all have They ask him, it's like, "Wait, so you have you have 3 kids, yeah?" And then it's like, they all have their own mother, and he's like, "Yeah, I did that so they wouldn't fight." You know what I'm saying? Like, I would hear like, "Sure, brother," you know what I'm saying? Like, see, that's one thing about comedy. I was never be able to tell that with a smile or people. Comedy heals, man. You got to tell some of the things that hurt you the most on stage or just whatever stage it is. And then eventually you're going to be able to say it like this, like it's nothing. I mean, I've heard some horrible jokes in the sense of like, if you don't tell them as jokes, they're horrible stories. Yeah. But at the end of the day, man, they're like, if you can talk about it, that means you got over it.
Yeah. Part of my set is about my anal cancer.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So I went through cancer in 2015, and I thought my first visit to the doctor was funny. So half of my set is about going to the doctor for the first time to get my checkup. And I think it's hilarious. Corey kind of cringed at something. Yes, Corey, if you listen to this, he cringed at some of it. But then the other part is about church ladies, Mexican ladies in church, and las comadres.
I'm telling you, man, it's so funny, man. I think it's super funny when you can talk about things.
So you want to send a message in Spanish out to the people listening?
No, I don't think I have a message for them, man.
Okay.
I mean, if I send it, I'm sending it in English because I know most of them speak English.
Okay.
You know, so, but no, just, we're coming home. One day we'll come home. That's all. I always tell my sister that, and, it's always a sad thing, just kind of turn down the note or something. I always said one day we gonna be together, and it's gonna be nice.
Well, I have no doubt that whatever you put on your mind is you're gonna do. You're very impressive. Again, for everybody listening, I just met Jose this morning. Really, I just messaged him and I was like, "Hey, I want you on my show." I don't really know if he knew exactly what it was about or anything, but he opened the door, got me in. And thank you again, George, for the delicious coffee. If he happens to hear this. I personally, intuitively have a feeling that you will accomplish many, many great things.
Thanks, man.
You have such a strong personality. I want to work with you. So whenever you start producing stuff, I'm throwing my hat in.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you.
And then I'll share my personal story with you afterwards. I'd love to come and talk to you. I do public speaking at schools already.
Oh, interesting.
So we'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Any final thoughts out there you want to throw out?
Final thoughts. No, man, I'm cool. I'm happy. You guys want to follow me on Instagram?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's hubris.jr. It's HUBRIS.jr. Hubris means arrogant, overly confident. And that's funny. Before we go, I just gotta share that. When I walk around school, middle school, there's some people that go to school, they will probably know. And I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna be super successful. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be the best. And people were like, you're so arrogant. You're so cocky. And then one time I was sitting in English class and somebody came up like hubris. And somebody was like, oh, that's you. And then I was like, I got hurt, but then I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm hubris. Fuck it, you know what I'm saying? So I made my name on social media, hubris.jr, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, cause I just would tell people that. Well, I was an ass, bro. I would tell people like, I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, you're not gonna outwork me. I used to walk around people like that, you know, like I'm like, you're not better than me. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna outwork me. And they would be like, what are you talking about? You know? We have like a small project, like a small art project, and I'll be like, my project gonna be better than your project. This is gonna sound even more cocky. It was the best project, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I told you so. That's how it's gonna be. That's like, look at your crap. I was just an ass, man. Now I'm not. I came down. I have self-awareness somewhat, and I became. But that was why hubris. That's why cockiness is my name on social media.
Where else can they find you?
Just Instagram on hubris.jr. And just Facebook. I have JR Reyes. If you're following Corey or anybody from comedy, most likely I'm a pop up.
And for everybody, you know that if you go on the Facebook page, I will link them to his pages. And if you're watching this on YouTube, scroll down. You'll find all the information on him, videos or other stuff. Just go down there. Scroll down. You know what to do. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
For the coffee, for the talk, for inspiring me. I'm like, if he can be cocky, damn it, I'm twice his age. Fuck you. Who do you think you are? Yeah. For everybody listening, we've had the pleasure of talking to manager Jose Reyes from Jose Reyes Management. He's also a comedian and producer and a Cool Beans U graduate. Thank you. And, you know, shout out to Corey and Matt. Corey, Craig and Matt Moore, who are, I consider them my comedy godfathers because they're the ones that pushed me to do what I did, and I had a great time. You can check those videos out too. For now, I want to thank Jose for being on the show, Mr. Moyers for all his help, and inviting you guys to check us out at abnormalentertainment.com. Also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, where you can find me at Daniel G. Garza or Little Mexican, LILMESICAN. For now, this is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together.
This is how I put it together.
This is how I put it together.
This is how I put it together.
Subscribe to Put It Together on iTunes, Stitcher, and at abnormalentertainment.com/putittogether. Find Put It Together on Facebook and tweet Daniel at Lil Messican, LILMESICAN. And for more podcasts, comics, books, movies, and more, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.